Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about decluttering and a lot of challenges that people encounter when decluttering. So if this is the first video of mine that you've ever seen, hello and welcome to my channel. My channel name is Inspiring Simple because I want to inspire people to live simple, slowed down, less stressful lives. And I have 10 children. I live in Melbourne, Australia, and I'm currently in lockdown, and it gives me a lot of time to think about things. And because I'm really focusing on trying to chase after joy and encourage other people, I thought maybe people out there are taking this opportunity to declutter and decrease the things they have, but you might come in to a couple of hurdles, a couple of things that are kind of really challenging. So I just thought I'd talk about them, and maybe together we can work through some of these thoughts and feelings and onward and upward through our decluttering journey. The first thing I want to talk to you about is things that you may be tempted to declutter, but that you could actually repair and still keep and use and enjoy. Because one of the first things that I learned when I started decluttering, really it was two things. The first thing I learned was that I did not want to be trapped in a cycle of acquiring and decluttering, bringing stuff in and throwing stuff away. It made me so much more aware of this beautiful earth that we live on, and so much more aware of how many things just end up in landfill. So I really wanted to be a lot more thoughtful about what I brought into my home so that I wouldn't be tempted in 6 months or a year to just throw it away. My son came to me with some pants of his, so tracksuit pants that he still fits into, and they have a hole in them. So it's just a small little hole at the moment, and because I sew and make quilts and I know my way around needle and thread, I am actually going to repair these now. I'm not going to put it in a pile waiting for an opportunity to do it. I'm going to repair them now before the hole gets to the point where we're throwing away the entire item. So it's less waste, they're still usable, and it makes me actually feel quite sort of happy with myself that I've managed to save these from getting ruined even further, and that my son can continue to wear them until he grows out of them. Another tip I have, which I briefly spoke about in my last video, is having a place where you can put items that you don't want anymore. I think that's really key to not become overwhelmed and just give up. If you're pulling out some books from a bookcase, making a pile on the coffee table, and going into your kitchen and rummaging through your gadgets drawer and stuff like that, then you're starting to make little messes kind of everywhere, and none of it's a finished task. So what I did the other day is I got an empty tub that I had available, and I started putting things in it, and it adds up really quickly. So there are those clothes that I've already showed you that my son isn't going to use and doesn't need, boxes that came with the new boots that we bought. What else do I have in here? I have just clothing the kids don't want anymore, things we don't need, or something that we might have replaced. I have it all in this one box, and it's pretty full. So what does that tell me? It tells me deal with the box. Don't keep piling it up until you have this huge leaning tower. Deal with it when it's full. Bag up the items, recycle them, get rid of them in the way that you choose, and then your tub's available again. Now, what do we do with like family items or things that are sentimental to us? Because that's a real kind of trap for a lot of people. They might be given something that a relative had for a really long time that they never even really had an attachment to, but then they suddenly do. I actually have a very fresh example of that. My parents are currently decluttering and downsizing and planning on moving, and my mother asked me if I wanted this quilt. And I'm like, ugh. And she's like, you can take it apart and do whatever with it, you know, whatever you want. And I'm like, yeah, I'll take it. So that's really great. She asked me if I wanted to take it, and I agreed to take it. And if I can find a before photo, I will insert that photo. But I washed the quilt, and the front of it used to be white and red squares. Are you following where I'm going? Are you following? It's not red and white anymore, is it? And I realized that here I was given this quilt that my parents were originally given well over 30 years ago from a very good friend of theirs, and my parents had never used the quilt. It was always in storage. Now, this is the part where I'm like, where did I come from if I'm not a person that keeps things in storage for a long time? But anyhow, it was in storage for a really long time, and my parents actually never used it, so they never had a need to wash it. And then I have it for 1 week, and I wash it, and the colors bleed, and oh my goodness, I've ruined the quilt. But then I realized something. The front is polyester. The front isn't even this high quality material that's meant to last for hundreds and hundreds of washes. And the proof that I have of that is that I washed it one time and it started fraying, it started coming apart and wearing out, and I'm like, oh no, what am I gonna do? But the back is still really lovely. I really love the backing fabric a lot. So instead of just being like, giving it to the dogs for a dog blanket, I am going to unpick the back of this quilt. I have unpicked entire quilted quilts before. I kind of know what I'm doing. I'm going to unpick it. I'm going to discard the polyester front. I'm gonna discard the batting that's inside, which is also some extremely cheap material. And hey, this is a quilt from like the early 80s. So, you know, I guess it lived a good life, and now I'll at least be able to repurpose the back and make it into something beautiful that will last for many washes and for a really long time. If you are a frugal person like me, sometimes you think you can just save everything, and you're trying to sort of like, oh, I can make it happen. I can fix it somehow. Well, here's some leggings that belong to my daughter, and she came to me and said, it's got a really huge hole. Can you fix it? I really love these pants. And I have learned now that as much as I really want to be frugal and be really careful with what I bring in, I'm also not going to let things just hang around that really I should just recycle. I don't think it's worth trying to repair a stretch knit material legging pants, especially because they only cost a few dollars to buy. And we can get new pants. We don't have to walk around with gaping hole in pants or a really weird mending job just to try to keep the pants alive. Thank you, pants. You did a good job, but I'm not going to keep you anymore. I'll end the video by saying that I really want people to be encouraged. Having too much stuff in your home can become really overwhelming, and you don't know where to start. Like I said, I don't recommend just pulling stuff out from everywhere and going really crazy. Some people do that, and you know what? I did that when I first started. But underneath me feeling stressed about visual clutter and the things that we had, I actually had major issues. I was pregnant with my 7th child in 9 years, and I've only had single births, and I was largely doing everything on my own, and people were just dumping stuff on us, and what I really needed was help, and I didn't really get help. My husband has always been incredible, but he's a shift worker and he still had to go to work. So yes, I'm so grateful that I got rid of the clutter and that I really have a handle on the house now. I'm really grateful about that. But I have learned now that I need to be a gatekeeper with what comes in. Because if you just let whatever come back into your house straight away, you will continually be stuck in this cycle of feeling overwhelmed and feeling like you have to get rid of stuff to be okay. So it's kind of two-pronged. Get rid of the clutter, deal with the mess, organize, and be really protective and highly value your mental health, because you can actually have a totally stark, empty, clutter-free home and still struggle greatly with anxiety, depression, and worry. I have watched enough videos on YouTube to see that there's people that still struggle. So there's a heart issue as well as a clutter issue often, which is why now I say, be gentle with yourself. We have one life to live. And if I could just encourage one person out there to really just try to release those feelings of regret, release those feelings of abandonment or past disagreement or broken up friendships or relationships, release the negativity and chase after the joy, because the joy is there waiting for you. So take this opportunity, declutter, get rid of the excess, get rid of bad emotions, the bad memories, the woulds, shoulds, and coulds. Just get rid of it. Bring in the things that add value to your life. Bring in the things that you really enjoy having and using, and really focus on the fact that we have one life to live and we should try to make it a really good one. We should try to foster things like kindness and generosity and joy and happiness and humor and good times. So I really hope you're encouraged today. Feel free to comment below if you have any extra tips on decluttering or anything like that. And I have 10 children. My husband is a shift worker. I homeschool my children. I have a busy home. But because I have boundaries and routines and a plan, I am able to declutter the home, organize, streamline, make it better. So if I can do it, anyone can do it. So go for it, guys. Get your tub, get your bag, get your whatever, and start working little by little to free yourself of the burden of clutter. I'll talk to you soon, guys. Take care. Bye.
Let's leave the past